Girl, I am fired up today and okay.
Are you now?
Listen, we need to have a chit chat because I am so over fake ass bitches. I'm so over it. I'm done. I'm done.
Please elaborate.
I know some of you were like, oh my God, she said she was going to talk about this thing that happened to her and she never did. Girl, it's because I didn't want to start the podcast off talking shit, okay? I didn't want to start the podcast off literally talking shit. I wanted to set a good standard for what this podcast was going to be about. But today, like, this is what this podcast is for. It's for me to vent and for us to vent because I need to expose someone without exposing them because I still don't want to actually put someone under that much fire that they get bullied online and stuff. Like, I don't want to do that. But I just need to make people aware of a situation that happened so that you are aware of the type of people that may come into your life living in Orlando and to just make sure that you avoid these people. So Shaneck was also dragged into this situation among a few of my other friends. So Shaneck also will have a couple words to say about this because I know we feel the same way.
Yeah, where do we start? Where do we start?
I feel like we have to give a little bit of background
Okay.
with the first person to get to the secondary person who's the main, I think, the main villain in this story.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So really quickly, we'll start off with a girl named Sally. Sally and I became really good friends. She had moved to Orlando. Obviously, I moved to Orlando. And we became really good friends over social media, as most people do over here. And we were connecting. We had a great time, whatever. And maybe like 6 months or something into our friend relationship, something happened where there was some miscommunication. Essentially, she had invited me to go to Volcano Bay with her and her friend who was visiting from out of town. And we were trying to go to Volcano Bay like all summer last year. And it wasn't working out with our schedules, which is fine. And she invited me to go to Volcano Bay with her friend from out of town. But essentially, she said it was kind of up in the air. She wasn't sure if they were going to go to Volcano Bay. She wasn't sure on like the timing because also the weather during the summer. It rains and thunderstorms all the time, and Volcano Bay will actually shut down. If there's a lot of lightning predicted for the rest of the day, they'll just close early. And so obviously it's not worth it to drive over there if it's going to close early. So it was really up in the air. That's the point. And then I had plans with another friend to do something in the evening, like go to this show that Disney invited her out. She essentially won a raffle because she works at Disney and you can enter these raffles to get free tickets to events and stuff. So she had asked me to do that with her in the evening. Volcano Bay is more of a morning, early afternoon thing anyway because it closes early. So I was like, cool, I'll do that in the morning. I'll go with my friend in the evening. I don't hear anything from Sally. I think it was like maybe a week or 2 weeks in advance that she had asked me. I hadn't heard from Sally until literally the night before. And so in my head, already the night before, I was assuming that these Volcano Bay plans were canceled and not going to happen because I didn't hear from her at all. Well, on the night before, she messages me or texts me and she's like, hey girl, so we're going to go. It looks like the weather's going to be sunny, so that's great, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, it's happening? Oh, right. So you see, I already thought it wasn't going to happen. So I mentally told myself it wasn't going to happen. And so now I like have made plans to go do other things. And whatever, on me for assuming, I guess, not hearing anything. And so clearly there was miscommunication there. But what happened was I told her, I was like, hey, actually, you guys have fun. You guys go to Volcano Bay. It's with your friend from out of town anyway. I don't really want to just like step in and on your friend time who's visiting you, you don't get to see all the time. You guys go and you and I live here. So we'll just go another time. No big deal, right? Because me not going wasn't going to stop her and her friend from out of town from going, right? So I didn't think it was the end of the world. Plus she hadn't messaged me and everything was up in the air. Well, so I end up going to this thing the next day with my other friend who's a cast member. And then the event ended up literally lasting like 10 minutes. And we were like, what was this? So she was like, hey girl, do you want to go to Hollywood Studios and get like a little drink? And I was like, sure. So Hollywood Studios was really close to where we were. So it was like, whatever, fine. So we go over there. And this is when Rock and Roller Coaster still was under refurb. And Rock and Roller Coaster actually was soft opening that day, which I didn't know. I don't know if anybody knew. It wasn't really like
announced. It's a soft opening. Yeah, they don't announce that. That's just
and so,
random.
when we walked by, I was like, oh my God, Rock and Roller Coaster soft opening. I didn't know so hard that my cast member friend didn't even tell me, because she's like, oh yeah, I've already ridden it like twice. I'm like, excuse me, why wouldn't you tell me that? She's like, do you want to go on it? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to go on it. So we went on it, and I was like, you know what, let me just make a little quick video because it's soft opening and I wanted to get my reaction on like the difference between how it was before and the big refurb, and it's been closed for months or whatever. And so we do that, we hang out, whatever, I go home. I end up posting that video, I think the next day. I don't even know if it was the same day, I don't remember. It gets a decent amount of views on TikTok and on Instagram, close to 1 million. I think it got 1 million on Instagram, whatever. Really awesome, really cool that it went viral and stuff, and wasn't really totally expecting that. So then time passes. This is like summertime, right? June, whatever. Lots of time passes, and Sally and I have communications back and forth like sporadically here and there, but I don't really hear from her that much, and we hadn't hung out, and I just was like, oh, it's probably because she's like really busy or whatever.
Because both of you guys were also moving in that time frame, so there was just a lot of moving pieces happening, so it's not weird that you guys hadn't hung out.
Yeah, and also a lot of people here, like I know, I'm sure if you're listening, like you know, that you'll try to hang out with people, especially here, when everybody's trying to be a content creator, also has a full-time job, also has a million things they're doing, and also there's just so much stuff to do around Orlando. You have your plans already booked out. And so it's really hard to find time to hang out with people. So hanging out with people once every couple months is really not uncommon here. It's not like, that doesn't make your friendship any less, if that makes sense. So anyway, come all around Halloween Horror Nights time, which was also last year. So this happened last year, June. The year before Halloween Horror Nights, 2023 HHN, was around the time that we had first met. And so HHN was like one of the first places we actually hung out in person. And it was really, really fun. And so I was like, oh my God, like friendiversary. This is so fun. I was like, we have to go to HHN together again. Like we must. And I know she gets a pass. I was like, perfect. I'm getting a pass. You're getting a pass. Well, she even texted me, by the way, when I lost my job, and something had happened to her. So I had texted her. We texted back and forth. That's important for later. But basically, come HHN time, and I don't know what happened. Well, I do, but I don't. And I kept messaging her asking to hang out. She kept telling me she was busy. I literally, if you ask any of my friends, people need to message me to hang out, because I'm so bad at making plans. And like, unless it's literally actively in my head, like, oh my God, I need to text this person to hang out, and literally I have nothing else distracting me between then and the 30 seconds it takes me to text someone, then I will text you. But if not, I literally will not make plans. Like, I'm horrible. So the fact that I was reaching out to Sally constantly being like, oh my God, let's hang out at HHN, should mean a lot. Like, that I was like, okay, we need to hang out. We haven't seen each other in so long. So anyways, I kept reaching out. She kept telling me she was busy, even during HHN. She kept telling me she hasn't been able to go, whatever. Then I see on her Instagram stories that she is going to HHN all the time. Like, she would be like, oh my God, I last minute decided to just drop into HHN, like, so fun, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, well, what the heck? Like, what? I thought you were busy. Like, if you've been going to HHN so much, like, you couldn't plan one day to go with me. Like, I thought you literally just don't have time to even go to HHN. So I was like, what the heck? I thought we were good friends.
So I think it's important to note that Timea was at HHN literally every single day that HHN was open. So even if she didn't make plans beforehand, it could have been as simple as like, oh my God, are you here? Like, let's meet up, or like, come join our group or whatever. Like, it could have been that easy. And
yeah,
it
and
still
I was posting.
Wasn't.
I was posting every single time I would go. I'd post on my story that I'm here. And I did go every day except for like 6 days because I didn't have a job. So it's like, let me go to HHN every day, because that was my only happy place during that depressing time. Anyway, I was getting weird vibes. And so then I was going to Shaneck. And I was like, Shaneck, dude, am I losing my shit right now? Like, does it seem like she's avoiding me, or am I just like overthinking things?
Yeah, and I'm the first person to give people the benefit of the doubt. So at this time, I still was just like, no, she's probably just busy, or these plans have probably been made for forever. Like, you're not overthinking it. Just keep reaching out. Like, you guys will hang out. It's fine. Because she was also nice when I met her. I met her once or twice, and she was sweet. Like, I didn't think anything bad about her by any means. So I was just like, no, it's fine. Like, you guys have also been texting for the past couple months. Like, yeah, not as often as you used to, but like, why would something be going on? Nothing happens, right? Or so we thought.
So we thought. So yes, I was like, okay, fine. I'll just keep texting her, asking her to hang out. And I literally did for like weeks, okay? And still, she just kept telling me she was busy. And then she would show up and post about how she's at HHN literally every single day. And I'm like, what the heck, dude? So then at one point, after weeks of this, like maybe 3, 4 weeks, I don't even know. I was like, Shaneck, I know something is going on because this is weird behavior to me. She's so sweet and so nice. And like, it's giving that she's ignoring me and like actively avoiding me. So it's like, I want to say something because I don't want to just assume she's ignoring me if she's really not. I want to clear the air so that I am not like, oh, she's ignoring me. So I sent her a message and I was like, hey girl, I just want to clear things up. I'm getting these vibes that you're ignoring me and like maybe you don't want to hang out with me. And I just want to make sure like I didn't do anything to, hurt your feelings or offend you or mess something up somehow. Okay, I just want to clear things up. And I said this and she tried to gaslight me. And she literally was like, oh my God, no, not at all. What are you talking about? I've just been so busy.
Also, one thing you're forgetting is that when you messaged her, you were trying to be, like, again, the bigger person. And you had asked her, like, oh, can we go get coffee? Like, let's meet up, talk in person, whatever. And her response was, I'm available to text. So, like, it was already a little snarky from the start, I would say. And then, yeah, she tried gaslighting you and saying nothing was wrong. And everything's just so happy and I'm busy.
Yeah, I literally said that and you're right. I did say, are you free sometime tomorrow for a quick coffee or a snacky at Disney Springs so that we can like hang out and talk or whatever? And she's like, sorry, I've just been working and, I've been behind on social media and blah, blah, blah. And she's been in kind of like this weird situation. So she basically was like, I'm so busy, I can't do that. Like, we can't hang out in person. And I was like, well, I'd still love to talk if you'd rather text or call. And she goes, yeah, you can always text me. What's up? Not like we haven't audio messaged podcasts to each other before or FaceTimed a ton of times, but sure, that's weird. So I was like, well, I haven't talked in a while and I feel like something's up. So I just want to check in and see if anything's wrong. And she goes, well, I feel like the last time we really talked was when we made plans for Volcano Bay. So I'm not sure. Is there something wrong? Sorry. But like, I'm not dumb. That's giving gaslighting so hard, is it not?
A little bit, yeah.
So then I was like, I wasn't sure if there was an issue until recently, but I was surprised when you said you didn't have time for HHN and you were going all the time. And she said, I thought you meant when I was free to go, but I already had all those plans before you texted me, which I also know is a lie because on her stories, she would literally be like, oh my God, decided randomly after going to a water park that I wanted to go to HHN. So I know, and like certain people that she ended up going with had essentially confirmed to me that she had asked them like a day or two before. So I know for a fact that that's not right. That's a lie. Then she told me that she had plans to go the next day. And she already had plans for another day because I basically said like, oh, well, that's not true. So then she was trying to defend herself. Then she said in another paragraph, the last time that she made plans with me, she made plans in advance and texted me multiple times to confirm, which was not right. And that she texted me the night before and then said I had made other plans without telling her and I didn't say anything. So then she says, so I don't know why this is a big issue right now.
Well, it would have been an issue if she had just told you she was mad from the start and not ignored you.
Right. Like if she had just been like, oh, I thought we had planned it, we would have talked it out then and there. And that's, right, kids, is why I say communication is key, even in friendships, because things like this happen. And then now who knows how long she's been upset for about this. I didn't even know it was a big deal. Because she cancels things, I cancel. Like people cancel things last minute. It just happens. And also, the biggest part about this was that it wasn't like it was her and I, and then now she can't go or wouldn't want to go because it'd be by herself. It was, I was invited to her and her friend from out of town. So I felt like that was even less significant for me. Like it wasn't that big of a deal that I would cancel.
Right.
And she didn't text me until literally the night before.
Right. And yeah,
anyway.
Like maybe you shouldn't have canceled last minute. Like I could understand people getting mad about that, but just say it then. Like don't just let it continue going on and on for months and you're just getting more mad and holding this grudge. Like just say it. And then you guys would have hashed it out and it would have been fine and we could have moved on.
Yeah, exactly. And so I fully understand. Yeah, canceling last minute is not a polite thing to do. And I understand that. But I also see my side, but I also see her side. So I was like, oh, I'm not trying to make anything a big deal. I was just asking to make sure because it seemed like something had happened and you were upset. So she said, well, we made plans to go to Volcano Bay. I texted you the night before and you said your friend invited you to something. So I said, oh, I see. I understand that bothered you. And I'm really sorry about that. I shouldn't have bailed on you the night before. I wish you would have told me it bothered you so much, but still that's no excuse for me bailing and I'm really sorry. Then I said from my point of view, and I explained the whole like you were already going with your friend, so I still understand what I did was wrong, but also from my point of view, it wasn't as big of a deal as what it seems like she was making it out to be. And this is why I think so. So then she keeps saying that she kept asking me a few times to confirm that I was going to go, which literally didn't happen. And then she also mentioned that she was so busy during the summertime that this would have been our one and only chance to go to Volcano Bay together, which I also did not realize. And she didn't communicate that. Obviously, I would have made a bigger effort to go than, you know, and kind of like held out and not made plans if I'd known it was the one and only time I was going to see her. But also part of me didn't want to intrude on her friend time. So whatever. Anyway, so then I go ahead and I lay out all the dates to her because she texted me one time and then she didn't text me again until the night before. And I gave her the exact dates because I went up to look for reference because she kept trying to gaslight me into thinking she did communicate it when she didn't. Then she also basically said, and this was the big kicker, was I don't even think that the Volcano Bay canceling was the big issue. She essentially said that you could have said, hey, rain check, Rockin' is opening back up. But you said your friend invited you to this thing, quote unquote. I think we actually ended up going at the same time anyways. So she ended up, I guess, going to Hollywood Studios that evening anyways, because I guess maybe she heard Rock and Roller Coaster was soft opening. So essentially she said, it just seems like you just wanted to get content and make it secretive, to be honest, which I get the content part, but why make it a secret? And I was so shook at this comment that I was like, you think I would go out of my way to go film content behind your back so I would get girl? So I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous that you would even think I would do something like that. Like Shaneck knows, everybody knows, like content. I wouldn't even think to do something like that. I was like, how did you even come up with something like that? So I just essentially laid out exactly the whole day to her, top to bottom, how I didn't even know Rockin' was soft opening. My friend didn't even tell me until we were there and I saw it with my own eyes. So she thought I like secretly went behind her back. And I was like, okay, you know what? This is a telling sign that maybe I don't need to be friends with her, which is crazy because up until this point, I literally thought she was the nicest person ever. And I was like, she's so sweet and nice. And you even said you met her and you didn't get bad vibes from her at all. So it's crazy that like it was kind of like a 180. But the fact that she would even come up with an idea like that and like to think that I would come up with an idea like that is like, oh, one, she doesn't know me at all if she thinks I would do something like that. And two, the fact that she would come up with an idea like that is so wild to me that I'm like, maybe she cares way more about her content and clicks and followers and whatever than I thought she did. And I don't want to be friends with someone who cares that much about numbers and stuff.
Right. And also, like, why would you even go out of your way to hide that? Like, Disney is a public place. There's a million people making content at all times. And we talked about this last week in Maddie's episode where we can go and we can film the exact same clip. We can share the same clip and it's still going to be edited differently. If you do a voiceover, it's going to be voiceover differently. It's going to be like a completely different video of the same thing that's happening. So like, why would it even matter if she did go with you or not? Like, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, there's no point of hiding that something is happening at Disney. And sometimes when it comes to theme park, like, content especially, like, things happen last minute. Like, you can be walking down Main Street and something will pop up and happen. So, like, you can't plan for all of these different content things. And it's crazy that she did think that you would go out of your way to just hide this from her when you guys were friends. Like, if anything, if you knew something big was happening, if anything, you would have invited her along and been like, come, this is happening. Let's go get the content. There's no reason for you to have hidden it. I think it was more of she was upset that you did get this content and your video did do pretty well, because I feel like it wouldn't have been an issue if your video had flopped either.
Well, okay, and that's the thing. I was like, there's no way, because she never gave any indication of actually, like, obviously she was working to build her social media, but she never gave an indication that like that's the end all be all for her. Like, that is what matters most to her in the whole world is her numbers. So that's why when you're like, oh, I think she was jealous, I was like, but there's like no way, because like she never gave me this like vibe that's what she cared about. But like her comment and her even bringing it up on her own like that makes me feel like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it was. But that is like so stupid. To ruin a whole friendship over freaking numbers and thinking that I would do something like that is so bizarre to me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to think that someone would ruin something for numbers, but it just doesn't make sense. And like, again, if your video hadn't done well, like, would she have even cared that you were at Hollywood Studios at night like not even during the day, because I feel like it would be different if you were there during the day, like at the time that you were supposed to be at Volcano Bay. Like that would make sense to me for her to be upset, because it's like, okay, you literally canceled plans to go to Volcano Bay to just go hang out with somebody else at the theme parks. Like that to me would be shady. But you were there at night, like way later in the day, like you guys would have been gone from Volcano Bay, especially
like 6 p.m. 7 p.m.
Yeah, especially if she did say that she was also at Hollywood Studios at that time. Clearly, like, she had no reason. It's not like you were there at the time that you guys had plans, you know? So the only thing that makes sense for her to be that upset is because of this video and because this video did well. And I don't want to make her seem like she's a jealous person, because there really is no reason to be jealous over this. But, like, that's the only thing that makes sense in my head. And at that time, too, she also had way more followers than you did. So, like...
She's always had way more followers than I did.
Yeah. So again, like, why would it matter?
Like, I hate that. Like, why are we getting jealous? It's a video. She has so many videos that popped off, that got millions of views, that do so well. And I'm not sitting here like, dang, I should have done that. Like, how dare she have so many views?
Right.
Why does it matter? So then she's important to the story because she was involved in the main thing that happened during HHN. Okay, so now we bring in a new character, Betty. And Betty, I think, was, after everything that went down, I think that she was the main schemer. And I think you would agree.
Yeah.
That she was the main schemer in what happened during HHN to me, which again is crazy. So for context, Betty's also a content creator, and Betty and I had sent a few DMs back and forth being like, oh my god, we need to hang out. Like, we've never met each other in person, as one does. But every time we would go back and forth, the conversation would end up fizzling basically, and we would never actually make plans. But I did see her in person like 3 times. Once the first day of HHN when it was first happening, like we walked by and I was like, oh my god, it's you, like, hi, we so need to hang out, Betty. And Betty was like, girl, oh my god, yes, we need to hang out, like that's so fun, blah blah blah, have so much fun, because we were with like different groups. So I was like, cool, awesome. Then another time I was at HHN with my friend visiting from out of town. I guess she was with her friend, and she runs up to me and asks to take a picture together. Mind you, literally the only back and forth we had was, hi, we need to hang out. Okay, that was the only verbal communication we've had. Yeah. But she has to take a picture together. I was like, a little weird since I've never actually talked to you, but sure, that's fine. So, by the way, she has a way more followers than I do, so I just want to put that out there. I don't know if that matters, but maybe it does. So she had her friend take a picture of me and her, and she's like, oh my god, we need to hang out. Okay, bye. And then like leaves. And I was like, okay.
Weird, but okay.
Weird, but okay. Like, sure, I guess. Like, whatever. And she ended up posting that picture way later, but that's after some stuff happened. So then I see her one other time, and this time it was at a media event. And it was a smaller media event. There were a lot of Orlando creators there, but it was a smaller media event. And we were in line to go into this event. And I was facing towards Shaneck, because obviously Shaneck, we mooch off each other. Let's be so for real. So obviously Shaneck was with me, and I was facing Shaneck. Shaneck was facing me, but behind me was Betty. And Shaneck goes, dude, Betty like keeps looking in your direction and then looking away, right?
Yeah, she like, you know when someone's like looking at you but like wants to avoid you, so it's like that quick like glance and like look away. That's what was happening. And then she would just turn to her friends. And I think that's important to note is that in between those first times when Timea had said hi to her at HHN and this time at the media event, Betty and Sally started hanging out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so Betty and Sally started hanging out. We started seeing posts with them together, which didn't really think much of. We were just like, oh, interesting, but like that's it. And then we get to this media event and she's very awkwardly avoiding eye contact. And so I started telling Timea like, well, you guys have been trying to hang out, no, right? Like you should turn around, say hi. Or once we go in, because we were still in line waiting to go in. So I was like, once we go in, go and say hi or something, you know, like don't avoid. That's weird.
Yeah. And also we're all socially awkward here. So I was like,
that too.
Hi, Mom. Like, sure, I guess I'll say hi. So in line, I turn around and I'm like trying to catch her when she looks again, like looks in our direction. So I can be like, hi, you know? And so she turns around and looks and I'm like, hey. And she just looks at me and is like gives me a quick little closed mouth smile and then like a little twinkle finger wave and then goes back to her friends. And I was like, okay, like, I mean, I'm not expecting to shout to each other. However, I will say I did run into other friends in the line, like they were across the field and we were shouting at each other like, we need to hang out, like, girl, what are you doing here, you look so cute. So like People were shouting at each other, I will just say. But anyway, that's not the point. Whatever. We were going to shout at each other a whole conversation. We get inside, and mind you, this event, again, is kind of small. So we ran into multiple... we saw Tim Tracker.
That was crazy.
I was like, okay, we made it. We're at the same event as Tim Tracker. Oh, we made it. And so I literally bumped into him multiple times throughout the whole night, okay? Multiple times. I never saw Betty again. Betty evaporated into thin air. And I never saw her again, which I thought was weird because this event was so small and I'd bumped into Tim freaking Tracker multiple times, but I didn't bump into Betty ever again. So I was like, I just made a note of it. I was like, that's interesting. It kind of gives avoidance vibes.
Right.
But,
and when we say like bumped into, we don't mean like we bumped into and like talked to them. I mean, we didn't even see her like waiting in line for anything. We didn't see her getting food ever again. Like, and it was, to give like a little context of how this event was, it was a very like open area. So like you could look up and see people, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like we were all segregated into little different groups and like different areas. Like it was pretty open. So
it was
the fact
like
that we
field.
so the fact that we didn't even see her, like not even a glance, side eye, like in our periphery once, was a little weird.
Yeah. And so then after that event, I like thought that was really funky, but I was like, sure, whatever. So then come more HHN, because again, I'm there literally every single day. Wednesday through Sunday, I was at HHN nonstop. And so obviously I'm going to bump into people eventually. Like, I live there. So I started seeing posts with Betty and Sally. And mind you, I know Betty and Sally had met each other in person once before, but when I was friends with Sally, I didn't know, like, she wasn't friends with Betty, or she would have mentioned being friends with Betty. So like, I don't think that they were close friends is what I'm trying to say, before HHN. So they hung out at HHN so often that every Instagram post between the two of them was literally them hanging out all the time. And when I mean all the time, I literally mean like every other day they were there together, which I was like, oh cool, they're best friends now. Like, whatever, sure. And this was already after the falling out with Sally. And so then seeing that Betty went from being so friendly with seeing me in person to then giving like avoidance behavior, and seeing that she was getting close with Sally, I was like, I wonder if Sally talks shit to Betty. Right. And now Betty hates me, even though doesn't even know me at all. But whatever. Maybe Sally was like, oh, this girl only does things for content. She's a terrible person, whatever. I would hate that person too, honestly. So I was like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, like that would make sense.
Yeah, like if someone told me that about a person I've never met before, I try not to preemptively judge until I've met a person. But like, that would be like, oh, that's not very nice, So right. I understand why Betty would dislike me. But the weirdest part was on social media, in my DMs, responding to stories, hearting my stories, commenting on all of my stuff. Oh my God, I love your outfit. Oh my God, you're so pretty. Oh my God, we need to hang out sometime. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Literally, the first people to view my stories were Betty and Sally. Like, all up in my stuff. Sally stopped commenting on my stuff and in general after the falling out. But like, Betty was consistently being super nice and sweet. So to me, it was weird that in person, Betty was avoiding me and like stopped being friendly. But then online, she was so super friendly. And so then I was, again, left confused because I was like, okay, if you hate me, you hate me. Whatever. You don't know who I am. That doesn't bother me because I don't know who you are. So if you are going to hate me, that's fine. I don't know you anyways. But she was so friendly online. And so I was confused. Like, do you hate me? Do you like me? Are you trying to give me a chance and want to get to know me? Like, I'm so confused. But she hadn't asked to hang out since then, only in comments, would she be like, we need to go together or whatever. So then this is when all of my friends started getting absorbed and dragged into this story, because essentially one of the first times, like maybe the third time that Betty and Sally had hung out, they had asked one of my dear friends who I hung out with a day or two before that at HHN. Obviously, I posted with the friends I hung out with and I tagged them in my stories, whatever. Apparently, they slid into her DMs, not they, specifically Betty slid into her DMs and was like, girl, we need to go to HHN together. And my friend was like, hell yeah, let's go to HHN, whatever. So she's like, yeah, I'm going to be with my friend who's from out of town. So it'll be you, me, and her will like hang out. And she's like, sure, let's go. So my friend shows up. By the way, my friend knows about the Sally situation. So just keep that in mind. She goes and she meets up with Betty. And guess who comes walking out of the shadows? Sally. There is no friend from out of town, by the way.
Which that's just very sneaky to do. Because why did you feel the need to hide it? You knew you were doing something. Why did you feel the need to hide it?
Right. Like, why would you lie about that? And so I obviously the only thought process is like, oh, well, maybe they thought that my friend knew the situation between me and Sally and she wouldn't go. Well, my friend, by the way, is like the sweetest freaking angel because she definitely didn't have to do this, but she texted me and she was like, oh my God, I need to tell you. I showed up and Sally showed up out of the blue. And if there's pictures and videos, because they're trying to take a ton of pictures with me, just know, like, I didn't know Sally was going to be there. If I had known, I would have, like, told you. And I'm like, girl, I I still think Sally is a really nice person. Up until this point, I never had any problems with her. If you want to be friends with Sally, be friends with Sally. Like, I'm not going to tell you who you can and cannot be friends with. I don't know anything about Betty. Go be friends with Betty and Sally. Like, I'm not going to sit here and see those pictures and be like, how dare she? Like, as long as you know what happened and you're looking out for yourself so that the same thing doesn't happen to you with a friendship like that. If you have a great friendship with Sally, go have a great friendship with Sally. I literally don't care. Like, my beef with Sally is nobody else's beef but my beef, you know? So then they hung out and they took 1,000,001 pictures and videos. And when I mean 1,000,001, I mean like Sally's entire Instagram and social media was of my friend. And when I say of my friend, I mean, like, Shaneck can tell you, she saw this video and was like, what?
Yeah, there was literally a video where Sally was not in it at all. It was all Timea's friends. And I messaged Timea and I was like, why wouldn't this be on your friend's social media? Why is it on Sally's? Like, this doesn't even make sense.
And every single post, reel cover, Instagram was all my friend with Sally and Betty. And so now I'm like, I feel like something's going on. But also part of me was like, maybe I'm just going crazy. Like, maybe I'm just overthinking it and whatever. And I'm just being dramatic. Well, nay. I should learn to listen to my gut because there was, in fact, something going on. Because then I posted with more people. And all of these people were getting reached out to immediately by Sally and Betty, trying to hang out at HHN. Every single one. Every single one. People that nobody else had mutuals with this person aside from me. And they would reach out and my other friends would be like, do you know who these people are? They're asking me to hang out with them at HHN. I don't know who they are. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. That's crazy. Are they now?
Yeah. Like, now it's getting a little weird. It's given fan behavior a little bit. You're watching all my stories, you're commenting on all my stuff, and now you're reaching out to all the people I post with. And not only just the people you post with, they were specifically reaching out to people that had bigger followings, which is important to the story.
Yeah. So they continued to do this. And eventually, Betty posted a picture with me and her in it. God knows why. Because one of the nights at HHN, I was with the friend that got dragged in initially. She was the Kickstarter. I was with her at HHN. And Betty messages her being like, girl, I'm at HHN for a little bit. Like, we should meet up. And my friend goes, oh, I'm with Timea. Because, by the way, my friend knew everything that was happening. I told her my suspicions. But I said, hey, if you want to keep hanging out with them, keep hanging out with them. I just want you to know that I think they might be using you. And I'm not trying to sound like a bitch and like self-centered or whatever by saying that. But I genuinely think something is up, considering the patterns, and you can keep hanging out with them, do whatever you want, like I said from the beginning, but like, I just don't want you to get used and get hurt, because she, again, is literally like the sweetest angel baby at times, and I don't want her to get used by people. But I was like, but hang out with them if you want, I don't want to stop you. So she came to her own conclusions. And anyway, so her and I were hanging out. Betty was like, hey, let's meet up. She's like, well, I'm with Timea. And Betty was like, okay, cool. Like, that's great. And so my friend was like, hey, would you be cool if we like met up with Betty? And at first I was like, ugh, I'm so drained. I like one after the other. I'm like so tired of this. I don't want to do this. But then I was like, you know what? Let's go hang out with Betty. Let's go meet Betty in person. Let's go actually have a conversation, which I've never had with Betty before. In person, let's see, let me try to pick up some vibe and see where she's at and see if I'm losing my mind or if this is an actual thing.
Right, because at this point, yeah, we thought it was a little weird what was happening, but for all we know, we're just overthinking things and like, nothing could be wrong. Dramatic. Yeah, we're just being dramatic and nothing could be wrong. And it's just a weird coincidence. So it was like kind of important for me to actually like have more than just a, hey, we should hang out, like have a full conversation and feel the vibes, see if something does feel weird or not, you know?
Yeah. And so the biggest essentially confirmation that this was actually happening and that it wasn't in our heads was because when we met up with Betty, my friend had a group there and we kind of all melted together. So the whole group and us went to go basically pick up Betty while she was waiting for us. And so the group was kind of off to the side while me and my friend went to go get Betty because they don't know Betty. And Betty was like hugging my friend and acting like they were best friends. And she just looks at me and goes, hi, and like does her little twinkle finger wave again. And I was like, hey. But she was acting really weird, as if like it was awkward now, even though she ran up to me a couple weeks ago asking for a picture. Like, okay, I'm not understanding the situation. And maybe I'm just socially that badly awkward that I just don't read the room right. But then she started talking to my friend, and it was the three of us kind of following behind the group, and we're like, let's go get drinks. And my friend and Betty were catching up, and then we were in line for drinks, the three of us. And we were in a row. So it was like me, my friend, and then Betty. And Betty kept talking to my friend, but she very easily could have just shifted her eye contact to me to like involve me in whatever she was talking about, even if I had nothing to do with what she was talking about. Like, that's just like common etiquette. Like, if you're in a group with people, you try to make eye contact with everyone to involve them so no one else feels left out, especially if you're talking about something that they wouldn't understand, or like kind of give them a backstory, like essentially involve people. Like, that's just what you would do.
Right.
She literally ignored me. And when I mean ignored me, like my friend, like, oh, Timea, like blah, 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 and actively tried to bring me into the conversation. And Betty would talk over my friend to stop her from talking and involving me, and just tries to keep going. And I maybe got in like 3 or 4 words. And the rest of the time, I was flat out ignored. So ignored where I was like, okay, maybe it's still just me. Maybe I'm the problem. That one of my friends from the group, who I wasn't that familiar with yet at the time, and maybe hung out with them like twice, walked up to me and was like, hey, you doing okay? And I was like, yeah, why? And then he was like, well, because Betty is outright ignoring you. Like, it's very obvious. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just gonna sit here and
gonna
let them
brush
talk.
it off.
I'm gonna keep my hands to myself, thank you. But I was like, yeah, like I'm fine, thanks. But like, it was so obvious that someone who I wasn't even that familiar with, in a group like 10 feet away, was actively noticing what was going on. And so I was like, okay, well then clearly, if my friend is noticing, her friend is noticing, like, it's not just me, like, it's confirmed. So we had invited her to come hang out with the rest of the group for however long, she was staying. And she was like, oh no, I've got to go. And she left. So after that, I was like, dude, she was ignoring me. And my friend was like, she was so ignoring you. Like, I'm so sorry. I tried to bring you to the conversation. I was like, oh, I know. I was like, you were trying. And she was not having it. That essentially confirmed that something is going on.
Right. And then, so fast forward, where I like kind of come in a little bit more. Fast forward past HHN, there was an event that I got invited to without Timea in December, I think, or November. And I walk in. I am also very socially awkward, you guys. I didn't know anyone at this event. It was my first time going for this company. I hadn't ever been invited to anything of theirs before, so I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know anybody. I'm already socially awkward. I walk in, I get there when there's like just a handful of people. I'm kind of looking around trying to figure it out. Betty is there, and she is with a group of her friends, I believe, or maybe she just met them that night. I don't really know. But she's in a group talking. I look very awkward. I'm kind of just standing around like trying to figure out what I'm doing. And one of Betty's friends sees me and very nicely was like, hi, and like comes up and introduces herself. And so obviously then I go up and I introduce myself. I had never seen Betty before, besides like the one time at the media event where like Timea said hi to her, and I kind of was just standing off to the side. But like, she's seen me in Timea's content. We saw each other that one time. But still, like, I don't ever assume people know who I am. But her friend was being really nice, said hi. The rest of her friends introduced themselves, and then comes to Betty, and she's just like, hi, I'm Betty. Like, it was like, there was no like even trying to be like nice and like energetic. It was just a very like, hi. And so I was just like, okay, hello, I'm gonna go now. I feel awkward now. So I left. I tried to figure out what was happening with like the event. The rest of the night, at least for most of the night, I felt like she was also just kind of avoiding me, like sat in a completely different table, like wasn't looking my way, like wasn't even acknowledging the fact that I was in the same room, which like, that's fine, whatever. We don't know each other, so like, that's cool. But then what was weird is that towards the end of the night, there was a different activity in the outside area of this event, and I was there with one other person. We were the only people sitting at this table. We're doing the activity. Betty then comes over, sits right in front of me, still does not talk to me, doesn't say hi, doesn't make conversation. And the only time she finally acknowledged my presence is when the girl next to me started having a conversation and like bringing me into it. And so I was just like, that's so weird, because like, we don't know each other. You don't know what I know. Like, I'm just trying to figure out your vibes too. And now, like, the vibes that I'm getting is that you also don't like me because I'm friends with Timea and like you have something wrong with her. Like, I don't really know. But then what's weird about it all is that she was so awkward that night and like didn't acknowledge me. But then she comes and follows me on social media like right after, which to me made me feel like, oh, are you just following me now because you see that I'm getting invited to things and like you want to be connected all of a sudden because you see that I'm relevant enough? I don't really know. And then she starts again doing what she was doing to Tamia and like commenting on my stuff and be like, oh my God, so cute. But it's like, why do that? Like, you're gonna be so awkward and so standoffish to me at an event where we were meeting for the first time. So we could have become friends. Like, you could have been nice to me. I could have been nice back. Like, we could have become friends that night. But no, you decided to be standoffish. And then you're gonna turn around and go on social media and then start acting like we're friends. And that to me is it's just so weird. I don't see the purpose in doing that. Like, don't be fake to me online and then not even care that I exist when we're at the same event.
Yeah, I think that 100% it was because you were invited to an event that she was invited to, and she goes, oh, so this person is relevant. Let me follow her. It's giving social climber, but it's weird because she still has a ton of, like, she has a huge following.
She has way more than I do. Like,
then both of us combined.
Like literally 20 times more probably. So why does it matter? Why can't we just be friends, like normal friends? Why do you feel the need to be a social climber just because you see that I get invited to events now? Like,
yeah.
Why does it
matter? She kept up this facade where in person she would ignore and act really standoffish, but then online she was like, we're best friends. Because I was invited to another event that she also, I guess, was invited to, and we were standing in line for it, and there was one person in between us. By the way, we stood in line for way longer than we expected. We stood in line for, I don't know, 30 minutes or something. It was a long time. And again, one person in between us. She was talking to that one person, so I don't know if she knew her, whatever, but she was talking to that one person. So I get in line and I see her, and at this point, I'm already have a sour taste about her in my mouth. And I'm like, I'm just not even gonna make an effort to talk to her because I don't want to associate myself with her. But she turns around and looks at me, and obviously I'm not going to be a bitch. Like, I'm not going to look at you and just literally roll my eyes in your face. So I smirked and I waved my hand and I said, hey. But like, I'm also not going to try to be your best friend and be fake in person. If you're going to be a bitch to me, then I am not going to be friendly with you. Like, that's just how it's going to be. So the rest of the time, she literally avoids looking at me at all costs. And there's literally one person, like, we are 5 feet away from each other. So she has nowhere to go. Girlie is trapped, and she still tries actively to avoid me at all costs. So I'm obviously just standing there on my phone because I don't know anybody. And we get inside this event, and at one point we pass each other. And this is important because we pass each other, and it was like a kind of a stressful situation. And I was like, oh my God, anxiety or whatever. And we said it at the exact same time, which I thought was fun. Like, it was just funny. Like, we said it at the exact same time. We said the exact same thing, and we passed by, but that was all we said. Okay. I post my video later, and she comments on it. Oh my God, it was so great seeing you, blah, blah, blah. Like, as if we had a full conversation and talked and catched up and said hi and whatever. And I'm like, what are you literally talking about? What are you talking about? What? And so anyway, later, we find out it's essentially confirmed through the pipeline that she did in fact on that HHN night ignore me on purpose. It was her plan all along. She does in fact actually hate my guts because I don't deserve to have blown up, which I wouldn't even consider what happened to me blown up.
Because you also still have less followers than her.
I don't even have half her following.
Yes.
So
why does it matter?
Why does it matter? And she says that I don't deserve the engagement that I get on my videos, and she hates me because I have more views on my videos than her. And this is, again, heard through the pipeline, so could be misconstrued, whatever. Take that information as you will. But to me, it adds up to everything else. Literally adds up to her essentially just trying to be a social climber by being super friendly online, but then being a bitch in person and being like ignoring and literally hating me. And
because her goal too was to make you feel isolated, or so we've been told.
Right, through the pipeline. Is that her end goal was to get all of my friends away from me and leave me with no friends and steal all of my friends during that HHN extravaganza. And I would just like to note that Betty out here is still commenting on my videos, hearting my stories, commenting on my videos. You're so pretty. Oh my God. I love this. We should go. Blah, blah, blah. Bestie, the jig is up. Are we still pretending? Like I know what you did. Everybody knows what you did. Like, you're so fake.
We've also been told that Timea is not the first person she's done this to. Apparently, this is something that she's done multiple times to multiple people. This is something that we've been told she does whenever she sees that someone's growing faster than she is, or when she potentially sees that she could gain a following from them, which is absolutely insane because at the end of the day, it's TikTok, it's Instagram. I don't think she has YouTube, so I won't say it's YouTube, but it's still like it's a social platform. Why does it matter? Why do we care so much? There are little views, there are likes, everyone can follow everyone. You can have the same audience as somebody else. You can have a different audience than somebody else. It should not freaking matter how many followers you have, how many views you get, how much engagement you get. It should not freaking matter. And we should not be scheming and trying to steal friends or make people feel isolated or whatever it is your goal was just to grow a following when literally, especially when TikTok is going away. Most likely.
It's literally getting banned.
So why? Why? Like, there's no point to be doing all of this. That's all I'm saying.
There's literally, it gives loser mentality to me. And the craziest part is when you said that she's done this before, she's a serial friend isolator, social climber, whatever. Like, we've heard that through the pipeline, but we've also heard it in various settings. Like, it is a large group of people who have been affected by her doing similar things, which further proves that what she was doing was what she was doing. And I don't actually need any physical proof because it's all in the pudding. But
yeah, it's not like it's just been one person telling us this. Like, we've heard it from multiple people who have met her throughout different stages of her life too. So it's not just someone that she met like a week ago that got mad and is saying this. Like, we've been told by multiple people, which is also crazy.
It's what's crazy is like, that is such loser mentality. Like, to me, that is the biggest loser, is someone who puts so much weight into wanting their social media to do good that you F over actual people, real people who you don't even know, or maybe you get to know them and you F over your entire friendship with them over trying to get more views and grow your content. And like, don't get it freaking twisted, sis. We all are over here trying to grow our content. We all want to be content creators, but there is a nice way to do it. And then there's
a genuine way to do it. You don't have to be a liar and stealing to grow. That's stupid.
It's stupid. And it's at the end, it's not going to get you anywhere at the end of the day. Like, karma's a bitch is really all I'm gonna say. And if you're gonna be like that to people in real life and mistreat people and disrespect people and not be a genuine person, that's gonna come across eventually on your own socials, and it's gonna be very forced, and it's not gonna be a cute look for you. It's just not.
Especially because Orlando may seem like a big city to people that don't live here, but it feels like a small town. Like, everything goes around, people talk. Like, that's how we've found out that she's done this to other people, is because we've gone and said hi to someone and they will just start talking and tell us these things without us even bringing anything up. So like, people talk. Like, it's gonna get to brands eventually that you're not someone good to work with either. So it's hurting you in the long run. Like, yeah, maybe it's worked for you now because obviously you have way bigger followings than us, so clearly it has worked, and unfortunately that means you're probably going to keep doing it, but it's going around what you're doing and it's going to eventually come back to bite you in the ass.
And like, truly the biggest thing is I want to see her in person, and I want to just tell her like, hey bestie, I know what you did, so you can stop acting fake online. Because I unfollowed her on everything once I figured out what she was doing. Like, I don't follow her anymore. Her content doesn't even come up, but she still pops up in my comments. And like, I just need her to stop being so fake online. Like, just stop being, if you're gonna hate me, then actually hate me. Be like Sally. Sally blocked me, for God's sakes. Like, Sally hates me. Sally hates me. Don't be two-faced. If you're gonna hate me with your whole chest, okay? Block me. Don't comment on my stuff. Leave me hate comments, for God's sakes, if you're gonna leave me a comment. Don't comment nice things and then be a bitch to me in person. And when other people are around, you act nice.
Right.
I hate people like that.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, say it with your goddamn chest. And the fact of the matter is that she is not the only one who is like this. And that is the most unfortunate part. And that is the reason why I am venting and telling this story, is because I need all the other creators out there and just people in general to understand that, like Shaneck was saying, this is a huge city, but at the same time, it's really, really small. And there are a lot of people here who are trying to be content creators. And there are a lot of people who will step all over you to get where they need to be. And they will act all nice until they're all of a sudden not nice anymore. And not saying that everybody's like that, because all of my friends that I have right now, I've never had more friends literally in my entire life than I have since moved to Orlando, but all of them have been through social media. But I just need you to meet people with your guard up and just pick and choose wisely so that this does not happen to you, because it sucks. It sucks. Like, it's just an icky feeling, and it sucks for it to happen to you. So and I'm sure that there are people even worse than Betty, to be honest. There's probably people who are even worse than her. So I just need you to know that there are people out there actively doing things like this. So just be careful.
Yeah, just take it as a warning and don't give people who do this your energy, because they don't deserve it. So with that, I think that's a great spot for us to close out the episode today.
Guys, this was a great therapy session. Thanks for listening. I feel so much better now. Now I can actually go do things today.
We can move on.
We can finally move on.
But yeah, thanks for listening, you guys. I will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.